I'm Jade McNeil and welcome to the B-Space podcast, your bi-weekly dose of business and property realness. No hype, no fluff, and definitely no BS. Just honest conversations about what it really takes to build something from nothing. Hello, welcome back to the B-Space podcast. Now, this podcast is nearly 2 years old, and that time has gone so fast. When I started this podcast originally, it's very much, and still is to this day, a place for me to kind of share my experiences, share other people's experiences and kind of summarize, what I can see and feel in industry, within property and business, and kind of get it out there, use it as a platform to have a voice, as it were. And I think that this episode today is particularly relevant to that. I don't know about you guys, right? But this is 2026 now, February 2026. I'm kind of feeling like the property space in particular is really somber. I don't know. I mean, I don't actually think we've ever really recovered since COVID. I mean, I'm sure most industries haven't, but just focusing on mine, on the property side, I think things have just, for all the reasons we all know about, it's been really tough. And I feel like 2026, rental reform kicking in, lots of uncertainty again in government and different things. Yeah, I'm feeling like the property space is really kind of somber. I have these kind of instinctive feelings that come, they come from myself as an individual, but also like the conversations I'm having, whether that's around my Elevate to 8 mastermind table with all my experienced developers and business owners there, or whether it's part of the, the one-to-one conversations that I'm having with clients. Often there'll be like a clear pattern that's emerging in terms of how people are feeling about the industry, kind of what changes they might be making. And typically from, experience, it tends to be across the board when people are feeling like that. So I guess in summary, this episode today is about me really summarizing what's kind of going on out there. I particularly want to focus on, how I feel that the changes are impacting on female, business owners and property developers, because I feel, it's really making, women in particular really, really slow down and feel really demotivated. So I want to kind of highlight that a little bit. See if you have got some connection to that and maybe, discuss some ways to kind of manage it, as, I can't see things getting any easier, unfortunately, anytime soon. And I have a real worry through the conversations that I have with different female clients and my wider network is that, is now really the time to slow down. And making decisions that are based essentially out of fear rather than strategy, and stopping your property development business, is that really the right way to go, or do we need to be thinking out of the box? So hopefully today in this episode I'm going to cover a little bit of that to kind of sprinkle some motivation into hopefully your property developing business journey. So I'm definitely seeing a lot of women pull back completely from their property development. And I get that, because property feels volatile. January's been tough, man. Obviously, it's the big month with HMRC. Everyone gets the tax bills, which is just joyful. The weather's been absolutely rubbish. It's so grey and cold and miserable. And it just feels like a lot. And I think all of these things kind of compound into our brains. And, property does feel like volatile. So people are... What I'm seeing is that they may be stopping investing altogether and just grinding to a halt, which, I don't necessarily think is the right strategy to cover by not pivoting and not adapting. A lot of people just, at the moment, it just feels like they're just stopping in the tracks, essentially. And, I get that. I do get that instinct. But when things feel uncertain, our natural kind of thing that we want to go to is to protect ourselves, protect our income, and protect our time. But my issue I have with that kind of head in the sand approach is the way we're feeling now. What if it continues? Because since 2020, it's been tough. It's been really tough. And it has felt like the survival of the fittest. And I say it every year. If we just survive this year, it's not felt fun for a long time. It feels like a lot of serious navigation through to survive and keep things moving and progressing. So how we feel right now, what if that lasts another year, another 2 years? What if it's another 5-6 years, like what we've already been in? Like what is the plan? I know personally, for me, yes, it's been tough from 2020, and actually what we B-Space, the brand, was focusing on in 2018, 19, moving into 2020, the irony is building a real strong serviced accommodation brand. That was kind of my focus. Now, obviously, COVID came along and kind of kicked that to the side, and then that's when we really doubled down into the HMOs, and just felt that, actually, more irony, getting stuck into the student HMOs and Article 4 felt like the safest, strongest asset class to focus on and build out. So essentially from 2020 to 2025, so for a 5-year process, that's what the business focused on and did well at. But yeah, personally for me, like I felt a change coming last year, paused the HMOs, and obviously now I'm focusing on flipping the properties, which I am absolutely loving, and I'm so glad that I listened to my instincts then, because actually for us now, playing to our strengths of flipping the properties, working on the construction side with the construction business, the materials business with the builder's yard, and just flipping property, it's all about speed, and when you've got a well-designed product, all those things, they kind of help to get better results. So my I pivoted in 2020, I pivoted in 2025. We've never ground to a halt. So I think it's, really important to kind of not just go, panic, stop, really reflect on kind of, where you are with your property development and see, how you can make a change. Equally, a couple of client stories to share, which are, I guess, similar. I've got one female client who is kind of medium to high experience property developer, probably 5+ years in different types of developments, but a lot longer in business. Has recently gone from, buying, building out the assets, retaining, to creating an operational business that acquires assets along the way. So we've got a business growing, which is a cash flow, and then we've also got assets coming into a portfolio. Yes, slower than before, but in essence, they are paying for themselves. I've actually got another female client that has been focusing on HMOs, really looking at those planning uplift HMOs, which are the longer, more painful ones, but more beneficial at the end. Has now sort of drawn a line temporarily under that, and is focusing on, again, similar, acquiring assets to go into the business, for business premises, to grow the family business out, as it were. So it's not about stopping, it's about kind of, thinking out the box. How can we continue to do this, navigating our way through this volatile kind of uncertain market? This episode of the B-Space podcast is kindly sponsored by the wonderful people at Landlord Furniture Co. Specialising in a huge range of high-quality bespoke furniture, Landlord Furniture Co. provides durable pieces designed to last in your rental properties. If you're searching for the perfect furniture to attract professional HMO tenants, or need more resilient pieces for your student accommodations, considering cost-effective furniture packs for a larger property, or looking for something more personalised to elevate your serviced accommodation brand, whatever your need, Landlord Furniture Co. will craft a solution for you. You can say goodbye to rubbish old flat packs and start investing in a luxurious experience for your tenants. Backed by a 3-year warranty and exceptional customer service, they really are the smart choice for any landlord or property developer out there who takes their properties, their tenants and their business seriously. So ready to transform your spaces with Landlord Furniture Co. and ensure that your investments stand out in the market? Visit Landlord Furniture Co. today at www.landlordfurnitureco.co.uk, or you can head to their showroom, which is in Oldham, or find them over on Instagram at Landlord Furniture Co. Now, let's get back to the episode. I'm definitely seeing more and more women, strip everything back. So the business is struggling, so they're cutting costs everywhere, including things that might actually help them, like development, creating a space to think, marketing. That's such a huge one. It's like the first thing to go, but if you still need to grow that business, like you cannot not have marketing. If it needs to grow and you've got a product that you need to sell, it needs a marketing arm. So cutting that back can be really dangerous. I get it, right? I totally get it. When money's tight, you want to protect, and sometimes that means cutting back. Sometimes it can be obviously the right choice, but then sometimes not. We want to protect ourselves, and we don't want to put ourselves into a corner and limit business growth. If we're relying on business growth to protect us financially, then it's kind of like making the smart decisions to not cut growth and to definitely be more strategic. So like ask yourself, what can my business not do without? Is it the growing the team? Is it, investing more into systems? Is it investing more into marketing? Because there's that age-old cliche of you've got to, speculate to accumulate. Like it's so true. And I get it, we might not be able to cover everything, but let's be super strategic about what we do need to keep in the business. If we're thinking about property development, it might be that it's the systemization on sourcing the deals, or maybe it's a systemization that the back end of it, the ops side in terms of organization, tracking projects. Maybe it's VA support to support you to track projects better. Like you cannot grow more deals and find more deals if you're stuck in admin tasks day in, day out, right? So it's like you got to invest somewhere to be able to grow out of the problem, as it were. Alarmingly as well, I'm definitely seeing like hints of more isolation coming up, because it just feels safer to get your head down and go it alone, particularly with AI kicking in. I mean, listen, I'm using it, right? I know I've said this on a few pods. I'm using AI, of course I am, for the things that I need it for, but I'm not solely relying on it. And I think that just throwing a thought out there for you to consider if you are a solo operator or you're slimming down at the moment, is AI is great, but it's never ever going to be kind of human, connection and having that response rate. So don't get lulled dragged into AI, too much, because it's really important to have a team around you that you're accountable for, and they're accountable to you as well. Don't get me wrong, like vulnerability is hard, and sometimes like investing into the business and yourself can feel risky, but if you've got the right strategy and the right business, it's absolutely definitely the right way to go. So you're probably listening thinking, well, that's great, but like, what's actually going to help me? I think you need to start with you, in all honesty. Like, get honest about where you are, take a good look around you and start pinpointing the gaps, and take a moment and think about the team that you've got, or the team that you would like to build, and why do you want to build it. Take a moment and just really reset for a second. Now, lucky for you guys, we've created a complete free workbook, which is in the show notes below. And it's kind of like it gives you the chance to have an honest reflection. Take you about 15-20 minutes to fill it in. And it's giving you the opportunity to reflect and pause and be open with yourself, because it asks you this, certain questions that is putting a mirror up and kind of okay, actually, where am I at and why am I there? Because honestly, if you're not prepared to look at it and kind of front up to it, you're never going to be able to fix it and move forward and actually enjoy what you started in the first place. And I really want you to start to think about not making decisions from fear. So think about, if we're pulling back out of fear versus pulling back out of strategy. They may look the same, but they're not. So you've got to ask yourself, is this decision moving me forward or just protecting me from discomfort? Business is hard. Business is hard. It is not sunshines and unicorns, as I say to lots of people that I work with. Let me tell you what's even harder: property development. Oh my goodness. I mean, it really is a thick-skinned, thing to do. You've really got to like hunker down and be honest, and especially with property developing, the decisions that we're making, they've got a lot of zeros on the end, so they've got to be the right decisions. So we want to always make sure that we're making decisions not based on fear, and that we're basing it on strategy. The next big thing that I think is so beneficial if you're kind of like feeling all of these things: find your people. I say this all the time, like, go find your people, because nothing is more powerful than other humans sat together sharing what's going on. I've run a mastermind program for like nearly 6 years now, where we've got between 10 and 13, 14 businesses around a table. And always one of the biggest things, and I've spoke about it on the pod multiple times, one of the biggest things is like just sharing where you're at and seeing comfort in other people's misery. Not misery, but like just understanding, oh my God, I'm not on my own with this, right? That person from the other end of the United Kingdom also is feeling it and also is going through exactly what I'm going through with a very similar business. And I think it's so important, like, I'm talking about real people. I'm not talking about AI. I'm not talking about an online course. I'm talking about like in the room. That could be like local networking. There's so many now. Like when I first came onto the Instagram scene many moons ago, there was nothing really. There was nothing. And then the odd, networking thing that I went to was terrible. Hence why I started my own events and stuff like that. But go find your tribe. So many more high quality ones have popped up. If you need a tip of like a localized one, reach out to me. I'll know someone that will know someone in an area that can say, yeah, go to that. It's really good people. That's really important. You would trust me. You'll get a buzz off that. Even if the thought of it, actually, like you're going networking, you're thinking, oh my God, I can't think of anything worse. Trust me, you'll feel like that going, but once you've done it, you'll be like buzzing, and you will connect with people. Some you'll be like, no, thank you. And others you'll be like, yeah, you're my vibe. And honestly, like, it will really help to connect with people when you're feeling about the industry and unsure about your decisions and kind of like where you're at. Also think about, being part of a mastermind, working with a mentor, small group of peers, whatever it is, get it sorted. Because if you're feeling a bit down and out about business and growth, like, trust me, just being around other people that you can have these open conversations with is such a high value task. And really think about that, and really think about how you protect your time. You can't strategize everything you're doing when you're drowning. Like, you cannot see above the parapet, and you think, like, we've all been there, like, my problems are the biggest problems in the world. They're really not. When you go and talk to other people, it's so much easier business when you have a sounding board. It like, looping property back in, it's so much more comfort to me when I'm sat with 3 or 4 large HMO owners and agency owners, like a mix, at different, one in the north, one in the northwest, one in the Midlands, one in the south, one in the southwest, all over the United Kingdom. And they're saying to me, oh yeah, viewings are down, arrears are up, this is the mood. And I'm like, great, because we're feeling like that in Nottingham too. So it just doesn't mean it's a me problem, like, or a localized problem. It means it's a national problem. So I can then feed that back to my team. They can stop feeling like they're not doing as good as everybody else because they look at social media, everyone's full. They're not full. It's not. We're all in it, we're all in it together. So, but if I don't go and have those conversations with those people, I can't pass that on, and it just makes me feel kind of more together. And I can also pass that on to my business partners, who are not based in Nottingham, who are based in the south, and I can say, look, this is happening in Nottingham, yes, but it's also happening in London, Liverpool, Manchester, Birmingham, wherever. Okay, so like having those people, and being able to really talk about what is kind of causing the issues is so helpful. I think if you can do this once a month, bi-monthly, ideally face-to-face, then I promise it will just bring so much value to what you're trying to achieve. I guess ultimately, my final thought is, like, you've got to remember why you started this, and no one is going to come and save you apart from yourself. So you either get strategic, get smart, and find a way through. But burying your head in the sand is not of a benefit to anybody. Like I said, I've pivoted 2020, 2025. I'll probably pivot in another 4 or 5 years from what I'm doing now, and that's absolutely fine. That is the glorious thing about self-employment, is that you have the power to make the changes to navigate through. But you've got to think forward. You've got to be able to spot your gaps. I'm always thinking like that. Okay, that feels like a weakness, or my instincts are telling me that that's going to become a problem in the future. Let me get prepared for that now. And I think that's so important. And I think it's particularly important for women. We're doing the juggle, most of us. We've got, we're looking after kids, elderly people, we're running a home, we've got lots of things going on, and often the easiest thing for us to do is kind of just go, I'll just run away from that and not deal with it. And it's not real, because you started this thing, you started this business, you started this journey of development. You now have to think your way out and through and up it. But listen, if you want to be part of my conversation, I've recently launched the Raw Business Mastermind program, which is first time I've ever done an all-female mastermind. I've been running them now. This is year 6 for me. I've recently launched that, and that is wicked, because it is the combination of, working on business strategy, being around the table with people that are similar to you in different way, in different areas, where you can come and have those conversations. But I've also baked the Raw retreats in there, so there's a real focus around kind of well-being and looking after ourselves as individuals, so we can be better business owners, we can be better developers. But listen, you're not on your own with this. Hopefully this pod, the 20 minutes I've rambled on for, has really helped to kind of show that everybody is feeling it right now. It's tough, man. So tough. Like, I don't know, every day you switch the news on and it just gets more and more depressing, doesn't it? But this is your business, is your baby, so you've got to protect it, and you've got to work on your strategy, you've got to work on you, and just know that you can. But we're all feeling it. We're all feeling it. Don't forget to check out the workbook, and a little bonus gift if you do the workbook. You want to send it over to me. I'm happy to get booked in on a freebie 15 minutes call. Let's go through it together. I'm happy to have a chat. I work with people all the time on strategy, business and personally, actually. More and more of that is definitely coming through. So I'm happy to extend that out to you. But thank you for listening. Hit me up. I would love to hear from you. That's a wrap for another episode of the Be Space podcast. I've been your host, Jade McNeil, property developer, mentor, and business coach. Don't forget to subscribe on your favourite platforms. And until next time, remember, don't believe the hype and always keep it real.